Good afternoon. Welcome to Saturdays with Sandra. This month's topic is overstimulation. This is a piece on Instagram by Neurodiversity and me. What is overstimulation? Overstimulation occurs when the brain is exposed to more sensory, emotional, or cognitive input than it can effectively manage. This may include noise, bright lights, screens, stress, multitasking, or lack of sleep. When this input builds up over time, the nervous system becomes overwhelmed, making it harder to concentrate, regulate emotions, and cope with everyday demands. Overstimulation is not a sign of weakness. It is a signal that the brain and body need reduced input, rest, and support to return to balance. And I found this little quote on TikTok by @love_the glass poet. Overstimulation. Lights are too bright, clothes are too tight, all my senses suddenly ignite. Silence starts to shriek as all sounds peak. I no longer try to speak. The cold finds its way inside, and shaking, I watch as my body and the world collide. All comfort is denied. And this is a little poem, also called Overstimulation, written by Dakota. Hyper aware of every movement and sound, pencil scratching paper turns to metal on glass, voices to piercing needles, footsteps to a sledgehammer. Light feels blinding, burning like the sun. The brush of a fingertip tears into me like barbed wire. Internally screaming, but making sounds hurt. Shaking so hard you'd think I'm freezing. Please stop talking. Please stop moving. Please turn the lights off. But I cannot express these requests. Overstimulation is an overloaded brain. Too many tasks at hand, loud noises, flashing lights, lack of sleep, strong smells, constant stress or conflict. Your brain has finally had enough and signals its fight or flight response. This triggers the stress hormones within you. This can cause headaches, fatigue, trembling, difficulty being still, a strong need to escape, angry outbursts, unexpected crying, the inability to focus, as well as being overly clumsy. Some mental disorders and disabilities can make overstimulation easier than for those without. Autism, ADHD, OCD, just to name a few. Sleep deprivation also leads to overstimulation. I have an issue with overstimulation probably more times than I'd like to admit. I suffer with a few disabilities and disorders that also aid in overstimulation. My mind is constantly going, always on 30 different tangents. On top of my own feelings, I am hypersensitive to the feelings of those around me. I live without my first two children while trying to raise my other two, causing high stress. When I am overstimulated, my senses are at its highest peak. I feel harder, I see brighter, I hear louder. I hear things around me others may not hear. I see things others don't, lights flickering, or the pixels within the television. Also smell things, like unscented baby wipes. Feeling things like the scratchy thread in my clothes, or the tiniest of bug crawling on my skin. I try to get through overstimulation first by taking a nap. If I cannot nap, I'll try with my earbuds and loud music. This helps with my constant brain. If it is bad enough, I have to step outside and have a cry while talking to myself out loud. I tremble so violently that it gives me the sense that I am cold. I rock in the rocking chair, probably as if I'm going to take flight. I try and ground myself. opening my eyes and trying to focus on something in front of me. Feeling my finger rub on my arm, listening to the sounds around me like a chirping bird. Anything to get your senses focused in the here and now. Also, it helps to know your triggers so you can try and reduce them. You cannot always reduce them, especially if it's caused from a diagnosis or parenting. However, if those around you can learn about overstimulation, they can do their best to help you get through it. Two weeks ago, I was overstimulated to the point I had a hard time with my own children climbing in my lap. The constant screaming with severely sleepless nights sent me into overstimulation. I know I still have to be there for my children. I can't just leave. I tend to disassociate during these times. I went to Bible study and church, absolutely exhausted and stuck in my head. Nothing could break the state I was in. At the end, I was about to ask someone for help to get the twins in the car. I look up and my gaze fell upon an angel. A charming and handsome redhead flashed me this irresistible smile. And for that moment, it was only him and I in that church. A wave of a calming peace swooped me out of the funk I was in and allowed me to smile back. Allowed me to get back with the twins and get them off to nap. Allowed me to take a much needed nap with a free mind. Overstimulation is very real and can happen to any one of us. The severity and frequency can differ amongst us. It is important to know our individual triggers for overstimulation so we can try and reduce them. It is also just as important to find out what works for us individually to get through overstimulation that does not do bodily harm. Thank you for listening, and remember, always shoot for the stars. Now, I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to get everybody to YouTube. The YouTube channel is sr.jurassic, the September Romeo Juliet Umbrella Romeo Alpha Charlie Echo Kilo. It's also the same on TikTok, but I'm posting more videos on YouTube. Thank you again.